Hello, I'm Leonardo Puglisi. It's Sunday, the 25th of September. You're watching 6 News. Our top stories tonight. Exclusive. The Australian Federal Police still investigating a former LNP candidate accused of lying to the AEC about where he was living. Now 6 News can reveal the house is up for sale. Also, is the United Australia Party really dead? We fact-check claims spreading on social media after the party was voluntarily deregistered despite having a sitting senator and plans to run in the Victorian election. Iran vows to deal decisively with anti-government protests now spreading to almost all of the country's provinces and seeing around 36 people killed. And what next for Joel Selwood? The Geelong skipper speaks out as the decision looms on his future following the Cats' 81-point thrashing of Sydney in the AFL Grand Final. Good evening. Australian Federal Police are still investigating a former Liberal National Party candidate accused of lying to the Australian Electoral Commission. In May, allegations emerged that Vivian Lobo, running in the Queensland seat of Lilly, did not live in the rundown address he'd provided. Lobo did not win the race, with Labor's Annika Wells re-elected with a 9.9 swing towards her on a two-party preferred basis. Despite saying it was his intention to move in, 6 News can reveal that only months after the election, the house is now up for sale. Chief reporter Connor Forke has this exclusive story.
A crooked letterbox, an overgrown garden, room after unfurnished room suggesting this house was unoccupied. But if Vivian Lobo's AEC documentation is to be believed, the LNP candidate was living here. In this Everton Park home, neighbours said stayed empty for a year. It's alleged Mr. Lobo was instead living at an upmarket property outside his electorate. Listing this address on his voting enrolment form allowed Mr. Lobo to vote in the seat he was contesting and advertise his local residency to voters. That is until news broke of the scandal.
Vivian Lobo, he's now been referred to by the AEC, by the Australian Electoral Commission, to the Federal Police for an investigation.
Mr. Lobo said campaign commitments and difficulties with tradespeople delayed his move into the house. But questions now over whether he ever intended on moving into the dilapidated property. Less than 4 months after the election, 6 News can reveal the house went quietly up for sale. Listed on the 8th of September, alongside photos showing a property that's tidier, but by the agent's own admission, in need of a facelift. Vivian Lobo did not respond to our request for comment, but in an 11-word statement to 6 News, a spokesperson for the AFP confirmed the investigation is ongoing and declined to comment further. The investigation has now stretched 4 months. In May, the fake address scandal propelled Lobo to national notoriety. Weeks later, the LNP suffered an 11% swing against them in Lilly, what used to be an ultra-marginal seat. But for Mr. Lobo, a far more devastating verdict could be yet to come. Enrolment fraud is an offence punishable by 12 months imprisonment. Connor Forke, 6 News.
A report is being prepared for the coroner after the body of a 5-year-old boy was recovered in a submerged car swept away by floodwaters in central New South Wales. Authorities in Tullamore were on Friday called to reports that 2 vehicles had become trapped, 4 people found clinging to trees to escape the floodwaters, but a child unable to be located. Since then, the 5-year-old was found dead, with police believing he was trapped in the car overnight. The Minister for Cyber Security says she will have more to say in the coming days about the Optus cyber attack. Claire O'Neill, also the Home Affairs Minister, on Twitter paid tribute to the, quote, world-class government agencies responding to the attack and encouraged those affected to take basic steps to protect themselves. It's believed those who may be affected could soon or are already getting dubious emails and text messages. Up to 9.8 million Optus customers may be affected. Well, they've been voluntarily deregistered, but is the United Australia Party really dead? Several days after the party's move to deregister with the Electoral Commission, despite having a sitting senator in Ralph Babbitt, claims have spread that the party is now officially dead, despite plans to run in November's Victorian election. Reporter Lincoln Holmes fact-checks the claims and takes a look at what next for Senator Babbitt.
I am leading the United Australia Party.
With millions reportedly spent, some believe the United Australia Party would have picked up a couple of seats at the federal election.
We must go back to the values that made us one of the greatest countries on earth in the first place and re-embrace the entrepreneurial spirit.
Instead, they only got one, a Senate seat in Victoria won by Ralph Babbitt. Now the party has made the move to deregister itself with the Australian Electoral Commission. The news went viral on social media, with tweets going viral and TikTok videos picking up tens of thousands of likes. But the claim the UAP is dead may not be accurate. Clive Palmer himself says the UAP will be registered before the 2025 election, and the move means less work behind the scenes in the meantime. Senator Babbitt has again confirmed the party will be running upper house candidates in the Victorian election, somewhat of a smaller election field compared to what they did at the federal election. Palmer says there are no plans to run in the Queensland election in 2024. Lincoln Holmes, 6 News.
We need truth in government.
And for more on this, we also spoke to political expert and analyst Kevin Bonham. He told 6 News that at this stage, party figures are saying the UAP will re-register for the next election. And of course, the party has applied in Victoria, so it does not appear to be dead. Importantly, Babbitt remains a UAP senator. He's not an independent, unlike David Pocock, who's also in the David Pocock party, named David Pocock, but he's considered an independent by the Senate. The Senate determines who is representing what party. The Senate has not refused to recognise Babbitt as a UAP senator. He's still listed on the Parliament House website as a member of the UAP. Now, in Bonham's opinion, he believes this is unprecedented. There have been previous situations where parties that have representation in Parliament have voluntarily deregistered, but that is after the MP has gone to another party or the party lost parliamentary representation. He cannot find, and this is important, a previous case of a party voluntarily deregistering while having an MP who continued to represent as a member of that party. So it seems an unprecedented situation, but as far as everyone's concerned, the United Australia Party is not dead. Plenty of political parties that have not been registered anywhere or used to be registered aren't considered dead. They should be running in the Victorian election if all things go smoothly with the VEC. So we'll keep you posted on that. Overseas now, Iran's president has vowed to, quote, deal decisively with anti-government protests. They've now spread to almost all of the country's 31 provinces. Ebrahim Raisi has labelled the demonstrations riots, but has also added that the death of Mahsa Amini, which sparked the demonstrations, will be investigated. She was detained for allegedly breaking headscarf rules, with reports officers beat her head with a baton and banged her head against one of their vehicles. Police, however, claim she suffered sudden heart failure. North Korea has fired at least one ballistic missile towards South Korea's eastern sea, according to the country's military. The move followed growing speculation that the DPRK was preparing to test a missile designed to be fired from submarines. It comes ahead of US Vice President Kamala Harris's visit to South Korea. The Artemis 1 rocket launch will not go ahead a third time on Tuesday because of worries about Tropical Storm Ian in the United States. CNN reports the storm is currently making its way towards Cuba and Florida. NASA is receiving information from the US Space Force, the National Hurricane Center, and National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration to make an informed decision. The Space Launch System rocket is the most powerful ever built by NASA. To sport now, and what next for Joel Selwood? The Geelong skipper has spoken out about retirement rumours, saying that we'll, quote, speak during the week and I'm ready to go one way or the other, but not now. It follows the Cats' 81-point thrashing of the Sydney Swans in the AFL Grand Final and speculation about a number of other footy veterans as well. Senior reporter Darby Travers has more.
Well, it was heartbreak for the Sydney Swans yesterday as they lost to the Geelong Cats in the AFL Grand Final by 81 points. The Cats led at every quarter break with a start of 41-6. The only time Sydney had a mini comeback was when they had a fairly even second quarter, but following that Geelong ran away with the game. Geelong captain Joel Selwood, who was emotional during and straight after the game, could also be retiring, while forward Tom Hawkins is contracted to stay on in 2023. The streets of Geelong were packed with supporters last night as they celebrated the win, which was their 10th ever premiership and first since 2011. The city of Greater Geelong will now host a street parade to celebrate the grand final win starting at 11 a.m. local time on Tuesday.
Now taking a look at what's making news on SIXNewsAU.com right now, and an investigation into the murder of Bill Hums has resulted in the arrest of a 32-year-old male following an extensive breakthrough that led to the homicide squad in New South Wales to the arrest at the Silverwater Correctional Complex. Hums, the cousin of the infamous Brothers for Life gang leader, was shot dead in Sydney CBD and then died on the way to hospital last year. Details on that. Also, a new edition of Commonwealth Knowledge. Now, those articles normally use an event from the past fortnight as a bit of a springboard to look at Aussie legal issues, mainly constitutional ones. However, with the death of the Queen dominating the news cycle, media outlets like Six News have covered almost all legal topics arising out of that. One topic, however, has not been registered. That is the fact Queen Consort Camilla will have her own Attorney General. So we will have details on that and plenty more. Don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter, 6 News Now, for more on that, for more on our original reporting. Link to do so also on our website, SIXNewsAU.com. Now, I'm Ivan Amelie with what's coming up later tonight on WAMN News.
Thanks, Leo. Tonight on WAMN News, is the $800 from Mark McGowan possible? The push is on for cost of living cash payment targeting WA's struggling families. An exclusive interview coming up.
Perth's Raw Show declared a hit despite its opening day clashing with the AFL Grand Final.
4 juveniles were charged with over 200 offences following an alleged crime spree in Armidale.
Feature interview of Raw Show CEO on Western Perspective, and later Dr. Andrew Miller's comment. Join us tonight on the WAMN News Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Alright, thanks both Ivan and Melly. Then taking a look at tomorrow's weather forecast right across the country. Brisbane partly cloudy, 27 degrees. Sydney 23, possible showers in Canberra 13. 16 in Melbourne, rain, heavy rain in Hobart, also 16. Adelaide, a chance of rain there, also 16. Adelaide 28 degrees, sunny, 22 and sunny as well in Perth. And Darwin, a warm top of 34. Before we go tonight, recapping the top story here on 6 News this hour, and the Australian Federal Police are still investigating former LNP candidate Vivian Lobo, accused of lying to the Australian Electoral Commission about where he was living. Despite saying it was his intention to move in, 6 News can reveal that only months after the election, the rundown house is now up for sale. And just finally tonight, of course, Spin Check Live is not on air this week. We're just confirming it will be on air next week. So next Thursday, 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, latest political headlines, panel reports, and of course we'll be reading out your feedback live. We've also got a poll on a random political party you want us to discuss in about 90 seconds or so on the show. At the end of the show, you can go to our Patreon for that, patreon.com/6NewsAU, just $4 a month. Really worth subscribing, benefits like that. So yeah, pick a random political party, randomly selected and then chosen by you out of 4 options. So looking forward to being back on air Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern. And that is 6 News for this Sunday evening. You can stay up to date with all the latest headlines by heading to our website, 6newsau.com, and by following us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Lit. Just search 6 News AU to find us. They keep us independent as well by donating just $4 a month, as we just mentioned, and receive exclusive benefits, patreon.com/6newsau. I'm Leonardo Puglisi. Thanks for your company. Good night.